What is up, guys? I'm back on my bullshit again, and this time I promised you guys a bunch of rabbits. This week I'm ranking every version of Bonnie from the FNaF series. The thing with Bonnie is he's kind of the opposite of Chica. Almost every FNaF game likes to have multiple versions of Bonnie present, with only two notable exceptions, that being FNaF 1 and Sister Location. Aside from those two or more has been the standard number of rabbits per FNaF game, and kinda still is in Security Reach. Man, that's starting to become a catchphrase. Anyways, I guess I ought to start. For the bottom spot at number 14, or the worst Bonnie, I had difficulties choosing. Do I go with the one I find the most annoying, or do I keep up the theme with the last two videos and go with the most irrelevant one? This time around, I split the decision and landed on my least favorite, Plushtrap. I'm not only including Plushtrap down here because I think he's terrible, but I'm also putting him down here because I'm not confident I can even call him a Bonnie. Although he's definitely a big part of why I view FNaF 4 as Michael Afton's nightmare instead of the Crying Child's, he's a mostly irrelevant character, only appearing in a short minigame between nights. Fun with Plushtrap as a minigame I think makes FNaF 4 as a product worse. I mean, the reward for beating it is playing less of the game. His design also does not make sense for a plush character. He definitely has an endoskeleton, so why is he called Plushtrap? Why not like Mini Trap or Small Trap? Whatever, I guess, let's keep trucking. The next entry at 13 is gonna be Bonbon. I never liked Bonbon from the very beginning. It kinda seemed like Scott phoned in on Bonnie when making Sister Location and simply turned him into a background character. Despite all this, Bonbon makes Funtime Freddy as a character worse. It's actually kinda difficult to get a Funtime Freddy jump scare when playing Sister Location, because half of the time dying to him means you get a Bonbon jump scare. Along with Chica just not being there at all, Bonbon being this game's version of Bonnie makes Sister Location feel like the least FNaF-y FNaF game to me. Number 12 is where I'm gonna put Dark Springtrap. I'm in the camp that thinks this is just a worse version of Springtrap that doesn't even seem canon, but it also gave us the best FNaF Funko Pop, so I'll just drop it here so I don't forget about it. Number 11's gonna have to be Rockstar Bonnie. Rockstar Bonnie is the version of Bonnie from Pizza Simulator, and he's not really that interesting to me. Fun fact, he's the only animatronic aside from Foxy to ever sing in the whole series, which is really odd considering the whole backbone of the series is singing animatronics. Hell, most of these guys don't even have a voice. Why is it Rockstar Bonnie is the first to ever drop a bar? Not that these bars are any good, they're about murdering you and otherwise aren't very catchy. He's number 12 for these weak-ass bars. Oh, and also his design isn't that good. Number 10 is gonna be Scraptrap, otherwise known by his full legal name, William Richard Benjamin Jonathan David Michelangelo Afton. Scraptrap is one of the vent killers from Pizza Sim, and in concept, is a pretty cool character. In concept. I don't need to be the one to tell you Afton's design sucks, anyone with eyes should be able to tell. For any blind members of my audience, I apologize and envy you because I don't like looking at this thing. I don't dislike all of his design, mostly just the bone lips and ears. I really want to know what happened when Scott was making this design. The most I can fathom is he was on some sort of self-mandated time crunch and ran out of time to pretty him up. Otherwise, I think what Scott was going for with a more Bonnie-like head shape and rabbit teeth is actually a really cool evolution of Springtrap as a character. I especially like the severed arm. However, I don't think anyone is surprised to see him this low on the list. Number 9 is gonna go to Spring Bonnie. Spring Bonnie as a character has never officially showed up in any FNaF game. However, we do actually have several interpretations of what he looked like, to varying degrees of accuracy. I actually don't dislike any of these interpretations either, just some of them more closely resemble Springtrap than others. Actually, for those of you more interested in the technical side of things, it's common knowledge by now that there was going to be a Spring Bonnie model in Help Wanted, but for whatever reason, it was scrapped. Although we only have a small picture of it now, we can see it does closely resemble Springtrap, but more interestingly is how closely it resembles Burntrap. Although not confirmed, it seems Steel Wool repurposed the model, and hey, kudos to them for using it in a clever way like that. My favorite Spring Bonnies, however, have to be the interpretations that include the long eyelashes and gender ambiguity. I just think it's funny to imagine William Afton's murder persona is a gender ambiguous tomboy/femboy. Number 8 is gonna be Springtrap. Springtrap appears at the end of Security Breach as the final boss, being the yet again reanimated William Afton. The fan theories surrounding this guy have been wild, and I actually have my own I want to add. Assuming the fan theory about Springtrap reusing Glamrock Bonnie's body is true, it makes me wonder where the corpse inside came from. It's definitely not as decayed as the body inside Scraptrap, and assuming Scraptrap is still a canon design, there should be some explanation for this. And I've got it. In Help Wanted, we hear the story of Jeremy's suicide from the perspective of the tape girl. Considering the VR game is how Vanny became corrupted, and most likely built Afton back up, she'd need an organic body for him to possess, so how about the guy who Afton just made chop off his face? I think the face thing is definitely the telling part of this story, as there's absolutely no traces of skin, lips, or nose on Springtrap's model. It just makes me think Vanny may have done some arts and crafts and made her own Springtrap real doll. Just some food for thought. Number 7 is gonna be Twisted Bonnie. Twisted Bonnie does not appear very often in the Twisted Ones graphic novel, but his design is fantastic. And aside from Freddy, he is the most recurring. Pro tip to any monster designers out there, the split jaw thing gets me every single time. It reminds me of that movie Krampus. I've already talked at length about the Twisted Ones in my previous videos, but I have to really give it to this design in particular. It's my favorite of that group. On a side note, I do want to compliment the official art, making him look more purple than blue. Purple Bonnie gang, rise up. Number 6 goes to Nightmare Bonnie. Nightmare Bonnie appears in FNAF 4 and attacks from the left-hand side. Unlike Chica, there's no safety tell like the kitchen, so you do have to keep paying attention to him. Fun fact, his was also the first jump scare ever revealed for the game, in the all-too-memorable FNAF 4 trailer. Does anyone else feel a Stranger Things vibe from this trailer either? When it comes to FNAF 4, Nightmare Bonnie is probably my least favorite character, but I still really like him, just wish she was a bit more threatening, like Chica. Number 5 is Shadow Bonnie. Shadow Bonnie, RWQ, or whatever you want to call him, is an Easter egg that appears in FNAF 2, and is kind of an integral character in FNAF 3. The main thing about Shadow Bonnie is we have no clue what the hell he even is, although personally, I don't think Scott really knows either. From my understanding, FNAF AR made him about Remnant or whatever, but I don't care. To me, he'll always be the ghost of a cashier. Part of the appeal of a character like this really is just not knowing anything about them, so I'm satisfied with never finding out what the hell he really is. At number 4, I'm bringing in Toy Bonnie. Toy Bonnie appears in FNAF 2 as the more child-friendly version of Bonnie, sporting a brand new bright blue color scheme, long eyelashes, rosy cheeks, and an overall more childish appearance. The best way to describe him is comparing Chuck E. Cheese now to Chuck E. Cheese in the 70s, a pretty drastic design difference solely for the sake of making the characters more child-friendly. In terms of gameplay, I don't really know how to describe him other than he's a pretty typical threat. Of course, he does have his slide across the screen, which is pretty scary the first time you see it, and his jump scare is one of the better ones. But overall, he's not the best Bonnie within FNAF 2. Most of the reason I like him comes from how different he looks to classic Bonnie. They share almost no similarities other than the tie and that they're both rabbits. It's a really interesting take, and I'd love to see Scott do something similar to it in the future. For my number 3 pick, I'm gonna say Bonnie Classic from FNAF 1. Bonnie in FNAF 1 is the most active character within the first couple nights of the game, being very quick to get to your door if he decides not to dawdle in the supply closet or backstage. His design lends itself to a lot of uncanny valley horror, with the eyes seemingly always half-lidded, aside from his jump scare. I think what makes him the scariest from a design perspective is that he has the smallest range of expressions from the FNAF 1 roster. He has no eyebrows, and his only 2 accessories are his guitar and bow tie, one of which he doesn't carry off stage. This small range of expression means the player can't get a solid read of what he's actually thinking or planning. It's part of the reason FNAF 1 was so great in the first place. That's about it for Classic Bonnie. We just have a couple left. Number 2 goes to Springtrap. First appearing in FNAF 3, I'm sure we all know his story by now. William Afton, when going back to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza to disassemble the animatronics possessed by the children he murdered, gets a taste of his own medicine when the spirits corner him in the back room. Panicking, he puts on the Spring Bonnie costume, however, its old, dilapidated state means the spring locks inside are very rusty and damaged from water. They set off while he's wearing the suit and stab his body every which way, killing him. Then FNAF 3 just kinda happens. It's an alright game, not my favorite, not my least favorite. It's definitely the story of Springtrap that makes him such a fan favorite character, although the design itself is also very cool, blending organic and mechanical parts in a gory mess. Despite what Springtrap would later become, it goes without saying just how amazing this first appearance really was for the guy, and it's still my favorite version of Afton as a character. Well, aside from Day Shift at Freddy's, but that's a story for another day. Number 1 goes to, you guessed it, Withered Bonnie. Withered Bonnie appears in FNAF 2 and is kinda the mascot of that game. He's the first animatronic revealed in the trailer and also the first character seen in the teaser for it alongside Toy Bonnie. Starting with the gameplay, Withered Bonnie is a tricky character for sure, as he'll wander out of parts and service and slowly make his way down your main hall. Unlike the Freddys, however, he does not go into your office when he sees you from the main hall. Instead, he will veer off and go into the left ventilation shaft. When he enters, you have a split second to put the mask on, and I'd say maybe 4 out of 5 times I'm actually quick enough to save myself. But the thing that makes him the best Bonnie to me is in his design. I mentioned in my Chica video how I like Glamrock Chica's animations because they made it seem like she couldn't support her own body weight. That really did seem to start with Withered Bonnie. Missing one arm will do that to you, but of course the main attraction is his missing face. It makes him have a very unique portrait compared to the other Withered animatronics, and it's part of the reason so many people remember him. He has no face that's metal as shit. And that's it. It should be no surprise to anyone, but the Bonnie line is my favorite line of animatronics and pretty much always has been. This was a blast to write and read off, and it makes me excited to move on to Freddy. I hope you all enjoyed watching this one. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share around. The comments I've been getting lately are incredibly sweet, and I want to thank you all for your support. Being able to make videos like this and have them so positively received, it's a bit of a dream come true for me. That's all from me this time. Have a good day, y'all. Peace.